Ever wonder how technology helps us get our sugar?
Yeah.
Get ready to be surprised. Today's deep dive involves satellites, AI, and sugarcane.
That's right.
Yeah.
We'll be exploring some excerpts from a document about Go Flamingo's product, Cane Sense.
Oh,
They're
cool.
using some really innovative technology to help sugar mills.
So our mission today is to unpack how satellites are being used to keep an eye on crops, specifically sugarcane,
Right.
and then how AI analyzes all that data.
It all begins with what's called remote sensing,
Okay.
which might sound complicated, but it's really just a fancy way of saying we're observing the Earth from way up high using satellites.
Like having a giant eye in the sky.
Exactly.
Right.
These satellites capture light reflecting back from the Earth and turn that into images.
Wow.
Think of how much farmland a single satellite image can capture
Yeah.
compared to someone trying to survey that on foot.
Oh, yeah.
It gives us a powerful tool to understand our planet, especially when it comes to agriculture.
That makes a lot of sense. But how do we go from these satellite images to actually identifying sugarcane?
Right.
It's not like the satellites are labeling each plant for us.
Not quite.
Yeah.
And that's where things get a little more complex.
Okay.
The first challenge is figuring out where the sugarcane is in the image.
Okay.
Because farmers often grow a variety of crops.
Yeah.
So you can't just assume everything you see is sugarcane.
So how do we tell one crop from another?
Right.
Is it just by their color?
Color definitely plays a part, but it's more nuanced than that. Think about it this way.
Okay.
Each type of plant has its own way of interacting with light.
Okay.
Healthy plants are full of chlorophyll, which they use for photosynthesis.
Right.
So that's why they appear green to us. They reflect green light while absorbing most other colors.
Right.
But they also reflect something called near-infrared light,
Right.
which is invisible to our eyes.
Okay. I think I'm following it. So far, plants reflect different types of light depending on their health.
Exactly.
But how does that help us differentiate between, say, sugarcane and corn?
That's where the magic of satellites and specialized cameras come in.
Okay.
Satellites, like the ones used in the Sentinel-2 program, can actually capture a wide range of light,
Wow.
far beyond what our eyes can see.
Interesting.
These different types of light are called bands,
Bands?
and the Sentinel-2 can capture 13 of them.
Wow. 13 different bands of light.
It's pretty amazing.
That's fascinating.
Hmm.
But how does analyzing these light bands help us tell one plant from another?
Well, remember how I said each plant interacts with light differently?
Yeah.
These light bands can reveal those subtle differences.
Okay.
For instance, one band might tell us about the plant's water content,
Okay.
while another might give us clues about chlorophyll levels.
So it's almost like each plant has its own unique light signature.
Yes,
Kind of like a fingerprint.
that's a great analogy. And just like with fingerprints, we can use these light signatures to identify different types of plants.
Right.
By analyzing the different bands of light reflected by a plant,
Yeah.
we can figure out what type of plant it is.
Okay. I get it now.
Good.
But how do we teach computers to recognize these light signatures?
Right.
I mean, is someone manually looking at every pixel of every satellite image and saying, that's sugarcane, that's corn?
That would be quite the task. Luckily, we have artificial intelligence to help us out
Okay.
by feeding AI systems tons of historical satellite images where we already know what crops are growing,
Really?
where we can train them to recognize these unique light fingerprints.
So the AI learns to spot sugarcane by analyzing all that data.
Precisely.
Wow.
And that's just the beginning. Once we can reliably identify sugarcane from satellite images, a
Yeah.
whole world of possibilities opens up.
Okay.
But we'll save that for later.
Right.
What do you think about all this so far? Does anything particularly stand out to you?
I mean, it's just amazing how much information we can get from just looking at light.
Yeah, it really is remarkable how we can use light to essentially take inventory of our crops from space.
Yeah, it's like a whole new way of seeing the world.
It is.
It is.
And it's only getting more powerful as the technology advances.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it is.
I'm really curious to hear more about how this technology is being applied in the real world
Me too.
and what it means for the future of agriculture.
Absolutely.
So let's dive into that next.
Okay, sounds good. You're right. Identifying sugarcane is just the first step.
Right, because we're not just interested in knowing that sugarcane exists somewhere out there.
No.
We want to know specifics.
Exactly.
Right, like how
Yeah.
much sugarcane is there and where exactly is it growing?
Exactly. And that's where the technology gets even more impressive.
Yeah.
Satellite imagery can give us a great overview.
Okay.
But to really drill down to useful details for sugar mills,
Yeah.
we need to incorporate more information. Think about individual farms and how much sugarcane each one is cultivating.
Right.
That's the level of detail we're aiming for.
That sounds Incredibly precise. So how do we go from these satellite snapshots to knowing how much sugarcane is on each farm?
It's all about combining the high-tech with the ground-level data. Think farm survey numbers. Each farm has a unique identifier.
Okay.
By merging that information with the satellite imagery,
Yeah.
we can get incredibly accurate measurements of sugarcane area for every single farm.
So we're blending cutting-edge satellite technology with good old-fashioned on-the-ground information.
Exactly.
It's like a high-tech partnership.
Exactly. And that's what CaneSense does.
Okay.
It pulls all this data together to give sugar mills a detailed snapshot of the sugarcane situation in their region.
Yeah.
This helps them with all sorts of planning for the coming harvest season.
I can see how that would be invaluable. Knowing exactly how much sugarcane is out there would let them plan their processing capacity,
Right.
transportation logistics, even staffing needs.
Absolutely. It's about optimizing their entire operation and making sure they're ready for the harvest. And it's not just the mill managers who benefit.
Yeah.
Imagine you're a survey officer who has to visit all these farms before the season starts.
Right? It must have taken them forever to survey all those farms, especially if they had to start from scratch
Right.
every time.
It was a time-consuming process, but now with CaneSense,
Yeah.
they can use the satellite data as a starting point.
Okay.
This allows them to prioritize which areas to visit and plan their routes much more efficiently.
So it's saving time and resources for everyone involved.
Right.
It sounds like a win-win situation, all thanks to this clever combination of satellite imagery and AI.
Yeah.
It's almost like having a bird's eye view of the entire sugarcane industry.
It's pretty remarkable. We're using technology to understand our food production systems in ways that were unimaginable just a few years ago.
Wow.
And it's not just limited to sugarcane.
Yeah.
This type of technology has the potential to revolutionize agriculture as a whole.
So we're talking about a potential game changer for farming on a global scale.
Yeah, potentially.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
What other crops could benefit from this approach?
We're already seeing it being applied to crops like corn, wheat, and soybeans. And as the technology continues to advance, we can expect even more sophisticated uses in the future.
Wow.
This brings up some interesting questions about how this technology will shape the future of food production.
Right, and how will it impact things like efficiency and sustainability in agriculture?
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that. What do you see as the biggest potential benefits and maybe some challenges that come with this technology?
That's a great question, and it's important to consider both sides of the coin.
Right.
On the one hand, this technology has the potential to significantly improve crop yields, reduce waste, and ultimately lead to more sustainable farming practices.
Okay.
It can help us use resources more efficiently, which is crucial in a world facing increasing demands on our food systems.
That makes sense. Using data to guide decision-making can lead to much smarter use of resources.
Right.
But what about the potential downsides?
Yeah.
I imagine there were some challenges that come with relying so heavily on technology in agriculture.
You're absolutely right. It's not a silver bullet solution, and we need to be aware of the potential challenges. One concern is ensuring equitable access to this technology.
Right.
If only large-scale farming operations can afford to implement it,
Yeah.
it could exacerbate existing inequalities in the agricultural sector.
That's a really important point. We wouldn't want this technology to unintentionally create a bigger gap between smaller farms and larger agribusinesses.
Exactly. And there are also data privacy considerations.
Right.
We need to ensure that farmers' data is protected and used responsibly. Transparency and ethical data management are crucial.
So it sounds like there are some big questions we need to grapple with as this technology evolves.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not just about the technical capabilities,
Right.
but also about ensuring it's used in a way that benefits everyone and doesn't create unintended consequences.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot to consider. Like you said, it's not a silver bullet.
Right.
But it is exciting to see how it's being used to address some of these big challenges.
Absolutely. And it's not just about boosting efficiency and productivity. This technology can also give us a better understanding of how climate change is impacting agriculture
Oh, right.
and help us develop strategies for adaptation and resilience.
That's a really crucial point, with climate change already affecting crop yields
Right.
and weather patterns becoming less predictable. We need every tool we can get
Yeah,
to ensure food security
exactly.
for a growing global population.
This kind of technology can provide the data and insights needed to make informed decisions about how we manage our agricultural resources in a changing world. It's like having a crystal ball
Right.
that helps us anticipate challenges and plan accordingly.
It really does sound like we're just scratching the surface of what's possible with satellite imagery and AI in agriculture.
Yeah, definitely.
What other industries could benefit from this type of technology?
The potential applications are vast. We could use it to monitor deforestation,
Oh, no.
track wildlife populations, manage water resources, even predict natural disasters.
Wow.
It's really about using data to understand complex systems and make better decisions.
We started this deep dive talking about sugarcane, and we've ended up talking about the future of food production and the potential of technology to address some of the world's most pressing challenges.
It has.
It's been quite a journey.
And it just goes to show that sometimes the most fascinating discoveries come from exploring the unexpected connections between seemingly unrelated fields.
That's the beauty of a deep dive.
Yeah.
You never know where it might lead. But one thing's for sure, the future of agriculture is looking pretty high-tech. What do you think, listener? Are you as excited about the possibilities as we are? We'd love to hear your thoughts.